Hey you guys, it's Steph and welcome back. So in today's video, as you can probably tell, we're going to be doing another Halloween makeup look. I've actually teamed up with Boots for today's video, which is kind of like a pinch me moment because Boots is literally like my second home by now. All the products that I've used on my face today are by NYX, which as I'm sure you guys know by now, are one of my all-time favorite drugstore brands, and obviously you can pick them up on the Boots website, so I will leave links to everything down below. This look was of course inspired by James Charles and it is super easy to recreate. It's literally a case of repeating the same steps over and over again and doing a lot of layering. So if you guys would like to see how I created this look, please stay tuned. So first of all, I'm just going to start by applying the NYX Angel Veil Primer all over my skin. I have already moisturized and everything like that. This will just give me like a nice even base and kind of prep my skin. I'll just pop that all over my face and kind of blend it in. Next, I'm going to take the Total Control Drop Foundation. Again, this is one of my absolute favorites. I'm sure you've seen me use this many times before. And I'm just going to start by dripping that kind of all over my face, and I'll blend that out in a second. And then I'm just going to go ahead and blend all of that out with my NYX blending sponge. I really like this foundation because you can just have like a sheer coverage with it, or you can really build it up. It's kind of like a good all-rounder. So now that my foundation's on, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of concealing. So I'm going to take the Gotcha Covered Concealer again from NYX. This one here is in the shade Beige, and I'm just going to pop that under my eyes and kind of over any blemishes. It's super thick, so I recommend you kind of warm it up between your fingers first. This concealer is super full coverage, so if there's something you want concealing, this will do it. Just taking a little bit more and popping that over any blemishes. And I'm going to pop a little bit over my eyes as well, just to act as a primer. And then again, just make sure we're all blended out with that sponge. So now that I've got my base on, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of powdering. So I'm just taking the pressed HD finishing powder, and I'm going to pack that under my eyes to start off with, just so we don't crease. I'm using the 26 brush from NYX, and it's literally like the most perfect thing for setting under my eyes. It just fits right under there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take a big fluffy brush and kind of just pack the powder over the rest of my face just to set it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and fill in my brows. I'm going to do them quite dramatic today because obviously we are doing like, you know, a fairly dramatic skull look on the rest of our face. So I'm going to be using this is just the Precision Brow Pencil in Espresso, and I might also use a bit of the Tame and Frame Brow Pomade. I haven't actually used this pencil before, so I think I'm going to try this out first. Let's see. I like that for going under the front of my brow. It's got like a nice straight edge. And just bring that up. Okay, I really like this for kind of shading out the front of my brow, because I can just kind of push it up and it just shades it in quite naturally. I normally like more fine brow pencils like the Micro Brow or something, but I like this. It's got like a little straight edge, so it means that I can get quite precise. That has actually done a pretty good job. I don't even think I'll need the brow pomade. Cool, so just go ahead and do the same thing for the other brow. Yeah, I love how easy it is to do like straight lines with this. Then, just because I have got a little bit of foundation still running through my brows, I'm going to take the Tinted Brow Mascara. Again, this one is just in Espresso. And I'm just going to run that through the bulk of my brows. So then for eyes, I'm going to go ahead and take my very well loved Ultimate Brights eyeshadow palette. And I think I'm going to mostly use these kind of blue shades today. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and take this kind of aqua color. And I'm just going to pop that in my crease to start off with. I don't want it to be too harsh, so I'm only taking the tiniest amount. This is kind of like a little bit of a transition. I'm then going to go ahead and take this super bright blue color, and I'm going to load up my brush with that. And I'm going to pack that mostly over the lid, maybe leaving like the inner corner clean to start off with. I might blend it out though, we'll see. We shall see. But I do want like the majority of my lid to be like this color mostly. Just kind of building that up so it's super opaque. I'm then just going to take the same brush, just because we are using very similar colors, and I'm going to use the darker blue shade and just pat that on the outer corner to start off with. I'll then go back in with that more brighter blue color, and I'll just run that on my lower lash line. Really smoke it out. Seriously, can we just make like blue eyeshadow have a comeback, because it's honestly one of my favorite things to wear. I'll maybe add a little bit more of that transition shade that we used before, just again to add a little bit of dimension, just so it's not a flat color. And then again, take that darker blue shade and just pop that on the outer corner as well. I'm then going to take this super bright highlighting shade from the Contour Intuitive palette. This one is the Jewel Queen one, but you can use pretty much any like white highlight you've got hanging around. And I'm gonna really load that up on my inner corner, just so it's like super intense. I might add more of that in a second, but for the moment, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay, I lied. I'm adding a little bit to my brow as well. I'm then gonna take a mascara from NYX I've never actually used before. This is their Stacked Lush Lashes Mascara. Ooh, it's got my kind of wand. I'm just gonna pop some of that on my top and bottom lashes. That highlight on the inner corner is seriously so blinding. This mascara is really, really separating. It kind of gives more of like a natural effect, which I really like, especially for my lower lashes. But on the top lashes, we want something a little bit more dramatic, so I think I'm gonna add some falsies. So whilst I'm just waiting for my lash glue to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of bronzing and contouring. So I'm gonna be using the 3 Steps to Sculpt Face Sculpting Palette. And I'm just gonna take this kind of matte bronzing shade. And I'm not gonna contour all of my face because obviously we're gonna be doing like the skull on the bottom half. But I do still want to be somewhat sculpted on the top half. So I'm just gonna kind of bronze up my temples and everything. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that highlight shade and just pop that kind of above my brow. It looks quite dark in the pan for me, but on the skin, it's like, yes. Right, let's see how these lashes are doing. Okay, I think we're nearly there. So what I'm gonna do is take these lashes, these are the ones in the style doe eyes. I'll just plop them on my lash line. Oh, these are nice. The glue will dry clear after a while, so don't worry if you kind of get it all over your face like I just did. So I'm gonna go ahead, wait for that lash to dry. I'm gonna finish up the other eye and I will check back with you guys in a second. So next we're gonna move on to the actual skull. So what I'm gonna be doing is using the Slide On Glide On pencil. This one here is in the shade Pure White. And what I'm gonna do is lightly sketch out where I want to place the majority of my neon makeup. So using a white pencil just means that if you make any mistakes, you can easily get rid of it. So right now I'm just feeling as to where my cheekbone sits and where my jawline sits and everything like that. Don't worry about being perfect with this because we're actually going to cover this up in a minute. It's just so we know where we're going to put everything. And then again, we'll do the same for the other side to just make sure we match. So I'm now just going to go ahead and do my nose. So I'm kind of just creating like a bit of a teardrop shape, but I'm forking the top out. Then I'm going to move on to my teeth, which is probably the most difficult part just because teeth are sometimes a little bit difficult to do. My little tip for this though is to kind of create little teardrop shapes. They look a little bit more natural than just like regular straight lines. So I'm just going to kind of map out where my teeth sit, just with little lines here on my lips. And then just create a kind of teardrop shape. And I'm just going to do the same for all of my teeth. So again, just kind of map out on my lip where my teeth sit. And then just connect them at the top. So I'm then going to go back in with that same palette that we used before and just using the same brush that we used for our eyes. I'm going to take that bright blue shade. I'm going to work that over the top of all of the white lines we just made and really kind of blend that out. As you can see, the white liner underneath also helps to kind of make it look extra neon. Again, don't worry about being too precise with this because we're going to be adding a lot of layers. I'm then going to take that super fine pencil brush that we used for our inner corner highlight. And I'm going to use that to kind of go over all the more detailed parts of my face, like my nose and my teeth. Gonna need to go in for a closer look with this. Again, literally the same thing with the teeth. This just takes a little bit of time, but it's exactly the same kind of technique. So I'm then gonna do exactly the same thing, but just using that finer brush now, and I'm gonna pack on quite a lot of product. And I'm gonna go slightly more in the center of the lines we just created, just to kind of bring it out of our face a little bit more. So I'm not blending this out as much, I'm kind of just laying it down, just so it's a bit more intense. So just doing the same, kind of going over the lips a bit more. I'm also just blending a little bit of that blue over my lips, just so it doesn't look too pink underneath from my actual lip colour. I'm then just going to actually take a little bit of that darker blue colour, and I'm just using that on a wet brush. And I'm just going to create a little bit more of a shadow on my lips especially. Not too much, just so it kind of shades it in a little bit better. I'm then going to take a black eyeshadow, and I'm just going to fill in all of like the hollow parts of my face. Not too much because I will blend it out again in a second, but just filling out like the bulk of it. I'm then just going to take a thin flat brush and I'm going to fill in my teeth with that. And just being really, really careful. I'm just kind of filling in the little teardrops we made earlier. You know, I'm actually going to use this little cheapy eyeshadow brush side because it fits kind of perfectly into the teeth shape. So now for the last time, we're going to go back in with our trusty fluffy brush and the Ultimate Brights palette, and I'm going to take that teal shade. And I'm going to go right back over the top just to kind of blend in the black and the blue. just so you can't really see too much of my skin tone kind of poking through. I'm really loading up my brush with this as well, just so it looks super neon. I'm just gonna go ahead and take a larger brush as well and kind of pack that over the top of like the larger parts of my face that I filled in with the black, just so you can't see again too much skin poking through. Doing this just kind of hollows it out a little bit more and it stops it looking like you've got some sort of weird beard going on. So if you find yourself looking like you have got a slight beard, then just fill it in and it should fix it. So next, to make everything look super crisp and to make the neon pop, we're going to be adding the NYX liquid white liner. So all I'm going to do with this is where we put the white pencil liner right at the start, I'm going to trace that over the top with this, and it'll kind of just give it more of a neon effect and make it look a lot more crisp. I'm going to need a mirror for this. And as you can see, just by doing that white line, that kind of gives it the neon effect. I'm like holding my breath as I do this. Even though I know it is super tempting, I'm the sort of person that always sort of sketches out my lines. Try and do it all in one little swipe, just so it looks a lot more crisp. And also do the same for the nose. And then you also want to do the same for the teeth, so just go over wherever you put that blue. So last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of that highlighter that we used before from the Contour Intuitive palette. And I'm going to apply that very lightly to the tops of my cheeks. I mean, it may be Halloween, but that doesn't mean I'm going to skip out on the highlighter. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, as always, please do give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you do want to see more of me, because I upload all the damn time. But apart from that, that's it from me. I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. Bye.